The Hearts of Gold podcast is brought to you by the Grow and Share Network, produced by Off the Walter Media.
Welcome to Hearts of Gold. Today we have Hannah with us. Can you tell us about your Girl Scout Gold Award project?
A pen pal program where they would send me or another Girl Scout a letter, and then me or the other Girl Scout would send a letter back so that they would be able to get better with socializing or writing letters or the mail postal programs. It was also during COVID, which was no one could go out or see their friends, and being on the phone was kind of just doom scrolling at that point. So writing a letter seemed a lot better than always being online.
What did you learn from your project?
Mailing is a lot harder than I assumed. You can sort of just talk a lot more on a letter than you can on text, because on text it's an automatic thing. On letters it seems more personal than texting through a screen, because you get to know this person and you have to write everything on the letter instead of just saying oh this, and then go on to the next topic.
Besides the pandemic, what prompted your project to create a pen pal project?
I was going to join the military, so I was going to have to write a lot of letters because I couldn't be on my phone for a pretty long time, and I had never written a letter before that except for the program. So it kind of got me used to doing that. And because now we have electronics and technology, a lot of people don't really know a lot of stuff about sending letters and how that works. So it just helped a lot with that kind of thing.
How did you find the connections for the pen pals?
My mom would go online, and I think she made a Facebook channel thingy. I've never been on Facebook. I don't know how that works. She made a Facebook group, I think, and found a lot of Girl Scouts through there. And we got a lot of them from around the country, and one of them was even in a different continent, I think Japan. We had 180 Girl Scouts were the first run through, and I think currently now we have 22 that I'm pen paling back and forth.
Who else was on your team? Who supported you in this project, and how did they do it?
My mom, my friend's mom, because she was the pen pal person that I was working with, and then all the girls in my Girl Scout troop. So Celeste Garza, Mercedes Garza, Adriana Gonzalez, all those people, they helped with writing the letters because I had to write a lot of letters out. And every so often, I think once a month, we had a Zoom meeting where we would do a patch program with all the girls. And they helped a lot keep things running smoothly, because if it was just me and my mom, it would have been very chaotic.
What kind of feedback did you get about your program?
I think the way we set it up was they would get a diagnostic of what they liked and what they had in common, and something that they could talk about before. So it wasn't they were just getting matched up with a random person. They knew what to talk about. So a lot of people liked that system, and they were kind of just making friends all over the country, which is nice to say that you're talking to someone in Iowa and you're in Minnesota. I don't know, but distance between that. But it's just nice to say that you have friends all over the country.
Who was your pen pal, and what was your favorite part about getting matched with your pen pal?
I was matched up with the pen pal in Japan. Her name is Reagan, and we still send letters even when I was in boot camp. I would still get letters from her. I did enjoy getting a lot of letters when I was in boot camp, because they would ask me oh, how's the military going, blah, blah, blah. And it was nice to know that even when I was there, they still cared. It was nice to know that I wasn't just going through that alone. A lot of people knew that I was going through that. And I still try to message them, or I guess mail them. I still try to mail them every so often, but I think there was Reagan, there was Sophia, there was Emma. I have their letters in my drawer with me. Reagan would tell me about how she's doing in Japan and how cool it was, and we would mail each other candy. She would send me Japanese candy, and I would send Mexican candy because I'm from very South Texas. So it was just fun getting like stuff from different places that I can't get from where I am, and I could give them stuff that I have that they can't get.
Is Reagan in Japan on a base?
Yes, it was a military, it was like a Navy base, I think. And that's why it was allowed because it would be able to like mail to there and back and forth. So that's why we could only have one, sadly. I would have had more like all over the world if I could, but we were under limits.
Reagan may not have been in the military, but clearly her family was military. Knowing that you were interested in going into the Army, did you learn anything through Reagan that helped you as you moved into your own military experience?
She told me a lot about like how she was doing over there and like how like the housing and stuff worked. And we were actually planning on like meeting her in Japan over there, but she got stationed back in the United States before I could. But she helped me with like how the transitioning would go and like all that stuff and moving from a different country to a whole different one where you pretty much don't know anything about it is very daunting. But she told me that she got there pretty well, so I just assumed that she could, then I could.
What was your biggest challenge with your project and how did you overcome it?
The grouping, because the system that we had made up was by matchmaking different girls to male, and there was a system where, oh, you want to stay in your state, or you can have somebody from a different state, and connecting all the lines was very complicated because we would get messages like, oh, I wanted to talk to some other person about this one, and we'd have to switch up a lot of other moving gears and to get it just right. And luckily we did in time for the cutoff, but it could have gone a lot worse without the matchmaking thing, because if we would have just been putting random names in a hat, just picking them, it would have gone a lot less smoothly than we had initially planned.
Do you have a favorite story from your project that you'd like to share?
I was writing letters for, I think, everyone, because it was like when we had just started, we were sending out all the postcards, and I was drawing like a different thing that each girl liked on their specific card to make it more personalized. Because I thought like, oh, it'd be a lot more meaningful if they got something that they all cared about on this letter than just a random letter from a random girl that they don't know. So I stayed up for like 5 hours drawing like a different animal that they each liked on their letter. And it was very tiring, but I knew that they would be really happy to receive that letter because I would have been really happy to receive that letter.
What did you learn about the Gold Award project itself that you didn't know beforehand and could be helpful for future Gold Award Girl Scouts?
It is a lot easier to do your Gold Award when you just start high school. That's what my mom had told me, because I've had people in my Girl Scout troop that didn't start their Gold Award till like 11th, 12th grade, and they weren't able to get it finished because they just couldn't get the cutoff date on time. So because I started mine in like, we thought of the idea when I was in 8th grade and we did it when I was in 9th. And I had already had it. Like, it was nice. It was cool. I could have just chillaxed. And I was able to actually help some of the girls that hadn't had done their Gold Award because I didn't have to worry about mine. It was a lot more comforting than, being pushed with a time limit, which is a lot because I'm a very heavy procrastinator. So I know it's very difficult to work under a time limit. So it was really nice to just have it done and not have to worry about that and help my friends who needed help instead of being like, oh, well, I'm sorry, I can't. I have to go work on mine. Sorry. So I liked being there for them and they were there for me. So it was really nice.
As you mentioned at the beginning, part of the interest in doing this project was to learn letter writing because you were planning to go into the military. Can you tell us about as much as you can, about where you currently are and what your current experience is?
I'm still in AIT, which is the advanced individual training. So I'm in like the college portion of it right now. I already did boot camp, which was 2 months long, I think, and that was pretty difficult, but I think I preferred it there than AIT because it was a lot easier, it was more structured. They told me what to do and I did it, and then I went back up to my barracks or something. And I'm doing IT specialist, so a very, very long AIT, but it's a lot of training. I have to wake up early. I have to go to school at 7. I have to do PT at 4 in the morning. And, but like, I still have to make time to write letters and send messages and do my homework and write emails to people. And it's a lot, but it's what I chose to do, and I wouldn't trade it for much else because it makes me proud to know that like this is what my dad did, this is what his dad did. I like that I'm following into the footsteps of my family and that I can make them proud. And my mom is able to say, well, my daughter's strong. If she can do it, then yours can too.
What do you see as your future?
Hopefully a long time in the army, but if not, then helping other people because my mom, even if she's not in the military, she helps a lot with military families, with volunteering. And if I'm not able to do this, or if I leave earlier than expected, I would like to do what she does with helping people because she's always inspired me with that.
What other Girl Scout experiences did you have?
I went to Girl Scout camp with my friends. I was actually a counselor for one of those camps. That was really fun. It was very insane because it was like after COVID. So I only had 3 girls, but it was still really fun. I would like to do that more, but I'm kind of like stuck here now. So I know that my friends wanted to do camp counseling, and after I had done it, they had been like, okay, well, we're going to do it more now. So it's nice to know that us going to that camp and helping other girls go to that camp by just counseling is really fun. I went to an outdoors camp, which was like, what was it called? I think it was like Green Bay. I'm not sure, but it was like outdoors. I didn't really like that one as much. I like being in a cabin, but it was still fun. I remember going to banquets with my cousin because she was always the one that sold the most cookies. And I I was there. So I was her cousin. So I was family. It was always Cookie Princess. And I was just the one sitting by her. So it was nice being invited to those and spending time with her. The little stuff like selling cookies with my mom after school every day. And we used to have crazy arguments and even crazy talks about random stuff. And I'll never forget that because being here, I don't really get to talk to her as much. And it's nice to know that I was able to talk to her during those times. And we got really close because of it. Just spending time with her. I'll never forget that. Even if at the time I hated selling Girl Scout cookies because I was just standing outside in the cold for like 2 hours after school and then went home and did my homework. Looking back, I liked having those talks with her.
What is your camp name and what's the story?
I think my camp counselor name was Spooky because I've always loved Halloween. And I had 3 girls. They were really chill. They were all brownies. And they were all friends, so they already knew each other. So they were very confident around each other. And I used to tell them stories about my life and like high school and how fun it is and blah, blah, blah. And they were honestly really chill. And then one time, because I had not moved enough, because I'm a very lazy person. So when I was at camp, I had to like run around a lot to keep things running smoothly. And I woke up at like 1 a.m. and my like whole body was aching because I had not moved that much. And I didn't want to like leave my girls because I'm the counselor. I can't just leave them alone. So I had to go to get some other girl So if she could I'd be like, hey, can you just watch them for real quick? I need something. I need help. So I went, did that. They were chill. They were safe. I made sure. And then I went to go to the first aid place. And while I was walking there in feed, there was a porcupine in a bush. And I didn't know it was a porcupine. So I got very scared and tripped. And then had somehow made my way to the first aid. She wasn't in there, the nurse wasn't in there because she was in her bed. She was in her room. So I had to go find where she was. And then from there, they gave me painkillers and were like, we don't really know what else to do. We don't know what's wrong. I'm sorry. And then I had to go back there in the morning with all three of the girls. And it's just a crazy story to tell now. And now I know what to do in case that ever happens again. And it does a lot. So I know how to take care of myself now. So very crazy experience. I did like being a camp counselor. It was very fun, but I need to physically prepare myself before I go ever again.
PT every morning should help with that, right?
It definitely does. And then getting corrective actions every hour, which is just push-ups and running around the company. So
what's something surprising about being in the military that you didn't realize?
After being here for a very long time, I think I've kind of gotten used to most of the stuff, but with the culture shock of all the new people that I've never all the new, especially coming different places. I met someone from Korea and Pakistan and crazy places that I've never seen before. And they've all told me about their cultures and how they live, they do things. And it's just nice to know that I have these friends and we're all going to go to different places. My best friend here, he's going to Kuwait in, I think it's in Africa. That's honestly crazy. It's just nice to have these friends here. And I think definitely the biggest shock for me was the culture shock of learning all these different things about different people. And there were a lot of arguments because of that, because people grew up in different ways. And it's oh no, it goes this way. But once you get used to it, all the storm settles. It's all just kind of little tiny arguments. But I think that might have been the biggest thing. Also, I had never eaten this much food before because when I was back home, I only really ate one meal. But I move a lot more here, so I have to eat 3 meals a day, which is crazy in my mind, even though it's the normal thing to do.
What else would you like to share with the audience?
Get things going. It's very easy to just get lost in the sauce and get nervous about making a first step, but if you don't make the first step, then you're never going to get anywhere. I know that for me, I'm a pretty nervous person, but I get blind with confidence sometimes, and I kind of just make moves, and that's gotten me pretty far in life. We're saying where I am right now, and it's just don't second guess yourself if you think you should be doing something, because if you second guess it, it might never happen, and you're never going to make a shot if you don't shoot,
How do you make your s'mores?
I know people like to burn their marshmallows. I don't do that. I like my marshmallows orangey brown. I'm very specific about that. So I put it right above the fire or right near it, close enough to where it can get perfectly toasted and warm. And then I put the chocolate and the marshmallow on top and the graham cracker. Those are actually my favorite snack. I love s'mores. I think one time I skipped school and my mother had left to go do something. And I went into the kitchen and made a s'more on my oven top. Not a smart thing to do. Shouldn't have done that, but I loved it so much. It was awesome. And I made more because I love s'mores so much.
I agree. And I've made s'mores over a stovetop before too.
I've actually asked my drill sergeant here. I was like, "Hey, could we make s'mores?" And she was like, "We can't have fire." And I was like, "Okay, I'll eat a non-cooked one. Just can I have the s'more making ingredients?" Yeah. She said, "No, that's contraband." So I'll make it later.
One thing that I do is I will put marshmallow in the microwave because when they expand, I like the golden brown marshmallows also, not burned, but they get mushy, similar to how the golden brown ones are. So maybe you could do that.
I might sneak a marshmallow into the dining facility and put it in the microwave.
Well, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. It's been a lot of fun.
Make sure to click follow or subscribe so you always know when new episodes are released. Power your passion and conquer your challenge.
Thank you for listening. If you'd like to be on the show to share your story of how you earned your gold award, reach out and send an email to growandsshare@outlook.com. Be sure to catch up on our previous shows on any of your favorite podcasting platforms, as well as view the full video versions at youtube.com/Cheryl M. Robinson. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next time.